Come have some fun and watch some games. Time to get crazy. It's night and day. Yeah. Last time on Night and Day.
This is not looking good. This actually looks gross. It's not over yet. This isn't the end yet.
Dead Cloud.
Oh man. He's really making sure that we get the idea that he's like disintegrating into the next, I guess, realm of life.
Now let's see what happens next.
Is that it?
Have you won? Is there more fighting yet to come?
Yeah. This is all we could do.
Wait! What about Holy? What's going to happen to the planet?
That, I don't know. Isn't the rest up to the planet? You're right. We've done all we can do, Cloud. Now love me.
Cloud, there's more things you can do. Come over here.
Yeah, exactly. I'll show you a lot more you could do. All right, everyone. We did our best. That's it.
Oh, what a shame Yuffie didn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shucks. We have to leave her here. Let's go home proud. Is that it? No way. What happened? I feel it. What? He's still here. Still. Cloud. He's laughing. Oh my god. Cloud.
That was the quietest scream.
Yeah. Cloud.
That's better.
Okay. Now we get an actual cutscene. Things are seeming more intense now.
And seeming a little bit chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. And astral projecty, I guess.
Traveling deep into.
So this seems like either space or holy. What the heck is going on?
Awesome. This is so awesome. Oh, shit.
Oh, snap. Oh, no way. Oh my god. This is ridiculous. Oh. Oh, okay.
Oh no. Well, that was a little bit sad. You can actually Omni Slash right there, and it looks a lot more epic than what just happened.
It gave me like all of 1 second to do it, and I was just like, okay, you don't want to do that, I guess. All right.
Yeah, I thought Sephiroth generally there waits a little bit longer for you to do your action.
Right. He just went straight in for it.
I mean, we're on the highest battle speed, but still, generally, I remember doing that fight. Because there, it gives you Omni Slash even if you haven't unlocked it yet. So the concept is you're supposed to do Omni Slash to beat his ass down.
Right.
But they want to make it guaranteed that you win that particular fight.
Right.
So they have this thing set up where Sephiroth, after a certain point, doesn't attack, and if Cloud will automatically counterattack.
Right.
So
that's a lot less epic than anticipated.
that build up.
And Sephiroth's just bloody, like, oh god, I can't take him.
So that was an interesting scene right there.
Wow.
Where a hand was reaching to Cloud, and it definitely wasn't Tifa's hand.
Right, right.
You can read the Cloud lines here.
Oh. Answer from the planet, the Promised Land. I think I can meet her there. Yeah, let's go meet her.
So that scene, very key scene, that
Yep.
shows that Cloud is still has some focus regardless of how the game plays out. In
Right.
any way, Cloud still has some focus on Aerith.
Exactly, yeah.
And Tifa looks pretty disappointed when he says that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, where is everyone?
Hey!
I'm glad you're all safe.
They all seem to be safe too. Have you seen the side of my shoulder? But now what are we gonna do?
Holy should be moving soon. And that means this place will.
Oh, Lady Luck, don't fail me now! I look really young in this
Yeah, he really does. It's like a little child.
Smoking a
With
big
like,
cigarette.
yeah, exactly. Oh wow, this is I don't think you're gonna be able to get that out of there.
The music, yeah. It's like an old-timey show tune
Yeah,
kind of
it
music.
really
Like on a
does.
silent movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Comedy scene here with Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah. Oh my god, there's so much. Oh, okay.
And Holy is free.
So it ejected. Wow.
Shit!
Wow.
Let me just pull my Bruce Wayne lever.
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Fix all my problems lever.
Yeah. Like contingencies within contingencies within contingencies.
Exactly, yeah. Just in case we face this planet-ending thing, and the other thing that's supposed to save the planet kicks us up into the air.
Yeah. Or in case our ship is blown up to like this level and then this level, and all we have left is barely a cockpit.
Right, yeah.
The flower girl. So now we see Marlene's been secured in Calm Town.
Ah, okay.
And somehow she sensed Aerith.
Hmm.
But when she looked out her window, she didn't find Aerith.
Yeah, that doesn't look like that doesn't look like Aerith at all. Okay. Well, Aerith's been.
Oh, Aerith, I can finally see you. Oh, never mind. I'm with Tifa now. You need a makeover.
I was about to say, like, unless Aerith's very unhappy that Tifa and
Oh,
Cloud are a thing.
She summoned Hellfire.
Yeah, and she's just like destroying everything around her.
You didn't wait for me. It's been 3 weeks, Cloud.
Yeah.
You didn't
couldn't
wait
wait
3 weeks
3
to
weeks.
mourn.
Yeah, exactly.
I died for you, you mutt.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a pretty badass scene, actually.
Yeah. This is insane.
1997. So amazing.
Oh my god. Wow.
And here comes Holy.
Hey.
Nice little perspective shot there.
Nice, yeah.
You can see it all the way across the planet.
Oh, that's so epic. Oh my god.
Wait a damn minute! What's gonna happen to Midgar? We can't let that happen!
I take refuge in the slums. I had everyone take refuge in the slums. The way things are now, it's too late for Holy. Meteor is approaching the planet. Holy is having the opposite effect. Forget Midgard. We've got to worry about the planet. So Holy's having the opposite effect of handling Meteor to the point where it's like destroying the Earth.
Well, it's too close. And they're saying it's too late for Holy. I don't know if Holy having the opposite effect is the right
What's that?
translation.
Yeah. Is that a Moogle?
Like Holy's trying to block Meteor at the surface impact level.
Right.
So it's destroying Meteor, but if you do that on the surface of the planet, there's going to be some collateral damage.
Yeah, for sure.
Potentially the entire planet. But Tifa spies with her little eye.
Yeah, a lot of...
What the hell is that?
Earth tentacles. Lifestream. Cloud just like ditches everyone, just dives straight in.
Aerith!
Yeah.
Babies! It's coming! See, that's a cool scene too, because it says the children are not afraid of the Lifestream.
Right. They have this like kind of intuition about it, I guess.
Yeah, like they understand, they recognize that Meteor is a destructive force and they're afraid, but all the kids are watching the Lifestream come, so they're not terrified, they're not running and hiding under beds or anything.
Oh my god. This is ridiculous.
This is so amazing! 1997!
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, it's come from like everywhere on Earth. It seems like. Or Gaia.
Yeah. Maybe it did come from Earth. Earth got destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. Like 4 times.
You guys need some extra Lifestream? Here are all the dead people from Earth.
Yeah, exactly. We've got plenty, trust us. Hey. You made it. Alright. Oh, wow.
You have beat Final Fantasy VII.
Wow. Who would have thought? We'd actually get to see the end of this game. It's insane, all the like twists and turns that they take you on, like for the whole storyline. It's ridiculous, like, and it's so like thought out too, because like things that happen in the very beginning or close to the beginning end up coming to fruition in the end. And like they set up these like small little storylines that like you can play out later on if you want to, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, talking about how things that are shown at the beginning come back into play at the end. At the very beginning, you start out seeing like this star field, and Aerith looks up from something, and it's kind of showing like green glowing.
Right.
And it's almost identical to that scene that just plays out at the end where she's looking up from like the center of the Lifestream.
Yeah.
So it's like, huge foreshadowing.
Comes full circle.
Yeah. Everything is interconnected. Really well done in this game. Not every Final Fantasy game is as well done with like storylines that make sense and like tighter storytelling with foreshadowing that's layered throughout. They're not all at that level, but some of them are. And yeah, they're really, every single game has a completely different new story. They're really a ton of fun to play through.
Right.
So how do you feel about this one as your first time playing through one of these games?
Yeah, this is definitely, I think this is my first time playing through a game like this at all, like with this such grand level of storytelling that's all linked together and in a very like long form kind of way. Because like usually I would play a game that has like a storyline and it would take like maybe 20 hours to get through, and it cut like from beginning to end. It's not very like insanely consequential, but this is like, it builds this whole world around it, and it makes you care about what actually happens in the world because you have such a long time with all of the characters and watching them go through their like all the good and the bad times, and then like all of there's consequences actually that happen with like Aerith dying and like relationships being like tested between like Tifa holding out for Cloud even though he's like gone mentally and all that kind of stuff. Like I thought it was fantastic. I could totally see why it's such like a major staple in like just gaming history because there's so much involved in it, and I feel like we scratched the surface of it to an extent because like all the different stuff that you could do that we didn't, like collecting like the chocobo stuff, doing all that is like its own mini game inside of this grand plan that they had set up. And like all the stuff that you can elect to do but that we didn't do, and now there's even stuff after the fact with the weapons being like in play and everything like that too. Very, very awesome, very interesting gameplay. I've never again played a game like this where it's more so like strategy based, where there's not just like you can't muscle your way through a lot of things. I guess technically speaking you could if you grinded nonstop.
Yeah.
But this is like you have to actually think, okay, what material am I using? Where am I using it? Like on who? What? Like how does that work with your equipment? Like all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of planning that has to go into like different places in the game that you're going to be at. The storytelling is fantastic on top of that. And I think it's a fun mix because there's like weird, funny things that happen in the storyline, but it's also like insanely serious because the world's going to end and you have like Sephiroth as this major player and everything like that too. So it takes you on such a roller coaster, which I think like great media content will do, not just like video games but like TV series, like movies, everything.
Right.
It like makes you invested into it, puts you on that roller coaster, makes you feel it up and down the whole way through. And I think this is definitely it's an example of that job well done for sure. So I enjoyed it 100%. I could totally see myself playing another Final Fantasy game just because this one was so fantastic. Yeah.
Man, yes, awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
because it was a commitment on our part for night and day. Because to play one of these games, these longer games, we have to put in the extra hours, and even the game is longer, and it's longer than what we show you guys too. Because once we're getting into repeated counters and things like that, it's extra editing on our part, or you have to play for an hour or an hour and a half to get a half an hour of a video to put for you guys at the final ending or the final product. But in any case, yeah, this is one of my favorite games. This is why role-playing games are my favorite genre. Like, I like all the games, most of the games. First Tree, get out of here. But I like most of the games that we played on our channel. Even First Tree had its moments that were really hilarious.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that story, woo! If you guys want to see a story that is not well written, well, I mean, maybe it's your thing. But anyway, yeah. So this game, and role-playing games in general, to me, are amazing. And this is why, because it builds you up on this epic, this longer form storytelling. Like you said, you get involved with the characters, you get invested.
Yeah.
So it's really, when it's well told, then it's amazing. And like you said, there's twists and turns. There's a lot of different elements, it's a long story, a long path where you follow the characters, you get to know each one, do side quests focused on each one, that sort of thing, and comes back and it gradually builds and builds. The scale gets larger. And Final Fantasy often kind of has that, not every time, but some of the games, probably more than half, you have the scale that builds up to like this epic world-saving kind of thing, which I don't mind that happens in a majority of games or that it becomes predictable, because to me, if the story warrants it, it's fine. And this one, it works very well with the story.
Yeah.
I love that escalation and how everything feels so epic at the end. Like you were getting really into that final battle.
Yeah.
And a lot of the games do that. Like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy X. They all have these like amazing epic scale final battles where like the music's amazing, the scope is amazing of what you're dealing with. Like, oh yeah, let's check this ending.
Oh, what the heck?
Post-credit scene. We're not invented by Marvel.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Not 5 years later, but
500 years later. What the heck? I was like, is the whole team still alive? That's insane. No way! Yes! Red, you glorious bastard. You have children.
Red's got some gray in his
Yeah, in his mane,
coat.
I guess.
His whiskers, his mane.
His goatee. Where did he find a wife?
Bugenhagen did say, you know, keep looking, you might find a life mate one day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, nice. Nature has taken back, I guess, what that has left behind.
So Midgar looking pretty different.
Yeah, definitely. It's very desolate.
Wait for it. So yeah, that's the ending of the game, and it was controversial for a long time because people would go back and forth on, well, what did it really mean?
Right.
They don't show you exactly what happened. They show the culmination of Meteor plus Holy plus the Lifestream all kind of happening at one time.
Right.
But did humanity survive?
Right.
So because they've hinted throughout, and I made sure to point out to you, hey, look at that dialogue line. Hey, what about this one and this one?
Right.
When Bugenhagen or Red, the people who knew the most, would say, you know, when Holy comes here and saves the planet, it might not mean you.
Yeah, for sure. That's so cool to see. Yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that means that, like, Midgar didn't survive that, because, I mean, Meteor plus Holy plus Lifestream, or Lifestream, while it's basically scraping the surface of Midgar. Like, I don't know how, unless Lifestream just, like, made it seem like it never happened, just, like, disintegrated it from all existence, then I don't know how Midgar would survive. But I wasn't even thinking, like, past Midgar if the rest of humanity is still in existence. Because I was just thinking, oh, Midgar's done. Like, that's just desolate. Everyone's gonna, like, whoever's there is probably dead. But maybe life on the other side of the planet has continued. But yeah, I do remember Bugenhagen even, like, in a couple of those instances where it's like, the planet will be here after Holy, but that doesn't mean, like, the human beings will too, because who's the real enemy of the planet? It's like, they were hinting that, like, the human beings aren't, like, blameless in the condition of the planet.
Right.
So that's really interesting for sure. And I love that they threw Red in there at the final, like, he's the guardian of the planet or whatever, or he's like one of the guardians of the planet, and he has, like, little kids. Red is, like, one of my favorite characters in this, so it's just an extra cherry on top for me too. But yeah, that's really nice to see him getting to thrive in his new territory. That was created for him through the planet, I guess. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so in the final cutscenes, Barret was saying, oh, it looks like Midgar is in danger. We can't let that happen to Midgar. And Red says, F Midgar, we got to worry about the planet now. This is escalated to a point where the whole world could be in jeopardy.
Exactly, yeah.
And then, so the ending has been ambiguous. So I took it, when I first played it, I took it to mean that, well, I actually don't want to tell you. I wanted to know what you took it to mean as first, without any bias from my part.
Right.
So what do you think it meant? What do you think happened, Travis?
I think that...
Do you think this happened? Maybe a little bit over here? Maybe a little bit over here?
It's probably what the last humans were doing as Meteor is coming towards them. Like, maybe we'll just dance for any god that's up out there to help us.
I don't think a god would be impressed with this enough to save the race that was doing it. I wouldn't consider this a dance. It's like chopping, maybe massaging. If I turn it this way, I'm doing massage hands.
This is just more violent massage hands. Just slapping someone. For me, I mean, I immediately thought that Midgar was gone. Like, Midgar was wiped off the face, or not technically wiped off the face, but the people that lived in Midgar were gone, like all dead. And but I didn't take it as all of humanity was extinct. I kind of took it as Midgar had fallen and nature had taken back Midgar, because Midgar was the largest city that kind of, I think Midgar was the city that was hurting the planet the most. So
that's fair to say.
So
because they have the Mako plants there.
Right. So so Meteor and Holy, and I guess the Lifestream, that combination took Midgar out of the playing field in terms of it hurting the planet, and nature had taken back Midgar as nature does. The planet doesn't want damage to be done to it anymore, and Midgar is the thing that's taking away most of it or damaging it the most, so it takes it back. But I didn't think that the rest of humanity was extinct because of that.
Okay, so you think everything that came together at the end with Aerith and the Lifestream, she came in clutch and saved humanity?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they had Midgar as a sacrifice. But you think even though the final scene was 500 years later, you don't think humans would have built something new at that location within 500 years?
I don't...
kind of prime real estate.
Yeah, for sure. That is prime real estate for sure. But I think it's free real estate. But
yeah, like people usually don't not build somewhere in our reality.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true.
Unless it's a desert.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do still places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi or whatever.
Yeah, even in a desert.
People will still build on deserts and whatever. But I guess I had more faith in the people that were in this planet than I do in my own. Because I was thinking that in the planet kind of taking back the life, taking back Midgar and whatever, that would kind of be like the people that have survived would take that as a reason to not go back to Midgar. I was thinking that what happened to Midgar would kind of prove to be an example of like what not to do in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the humans would always leave that there as the reminder.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Like no one's going to want to go back to what that was, because what that was caused what happened to them.
Yeah. That's perfectly valid. That totally works. So my original interpretation playing it for the first time was that humanity did get wiped out.
Okay.
Because you're showing Red, you're specifically not showing humans.
Yeah.
And you're showing Red come back to this place 500 years later and like taking his grandchildren there, then maybe growling.
Right.
Or doing a howl out of memory or whatever. Like in memoriam, this is what they used to be. Children, we must always remember for the future, never to fall, do this sort of thing. Right. Because they did foreshadow it a while, but I had a friend who was on the other side of that, where like, okay, no, the laughter at the end is human children laughter. It means that humanity survived. But my counter to that was it could have been the laughter of Red's kids. Why, if Red can talk, if he can vocalize, why would his laughter sound different? Why would they just showed kids? Yeah. Those kids would laugh. Hopefully, Red's species has enough genetic diversity so that when he found his own wife, he didn't mind that he and his wife would now repopulate the entire planet.
Yeah, exactly.
And all their kids would be interbreeding, and some of his kids would be sleeping with his wife, and it would not be something that sounds good.
No, definitely not.
But I'm sure his species is cool with it and has enough genetic diversity to make that work, so that they're not just all crazy inbred genetic deformity,
just monsters.
Mutation.
Yeah, exactly.
This, children, is something we must never do, never forget. Forget what, Grandpa? So
supposedly found another, like a wife that is of the same species.
Right.
Unless they have some very interesting, like, genes that's being split there.
Yeah, maybe Hojo was onto something when he was trying to get him to crossbreed with Aerith. I mean, that was how we met them.
yeah, that's true. Maybe that's he's figured something out. He's like, my genes will always be dominant, so no matter what the mother is, I always get my child that looks like me. That would be very odd, but
yeah, Red, he looks like a mammal, but he's really a parasitic life form.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs the egg of another species.
Yeah.
But the thing where you talk to Bugenhagen and you see him on his deathbed, I didn't recall that part. But yeah, Bugenhagen actually foreshadows, hey, no, you have to keep looking. I know you think you're the last, but you have to get out there. Maybe you'll find someone. Because the first time I played through the game, I was bothered by that. It's like, how does Red have grandkids? That's impossible. Yeah. That's a kind of a massive plot hole.
Right.
But at least now they've covered it.
Yeah, that's awesome, for sure. I mean, I didn't think that, I definitely in no way, shape, or form thought we'd see Red with, like, kids or whatever. Because, I mean, after early on, they said, oh, he's the last one.
Right.
Even after Bugenhagen said, like, oh, you have to keep looking, whatever, I was thinking, like, oh, maybe he'll have, like, a human, like, wife or something like that, if they don't mind him being a dog. Should be interesting. But
it works on Family Guy half the time.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah,
so maybe they got it from here.
Are we going to treat Brian like a dog or like a human this episode?
Right, yeah, exactly. And whenever it's convenient, we'll swap between the two, I guess. Yeah, seeing him with kids and everything is pretty freaking cool. Like, I really like that you get to see him being the one to kind of, like, I guess, we don't know, it's 500 years in the future, chances are everyone else is dead, because they're all, like, just basic humans at this point. So there's no Aerith that is like this next level being. So she probably is still alive in the Lifestream somewhere. But Red's the only one that can survive that long, and we see him in all his grace, like running through this land with his progeny. So me being a Red fan, I loved that. Just get to see that at the very end. That was so fantastic.
So yeah, they actually show you that through the end, there's this other reason that they made his species age that way.
Right.
So that they could do this whole framing of the story and show you this one glimpse that still doesn't show 100% if humanity survived or not. So yeah, my perspective was humanity got wiped. And it's not necessarily that horrible of an ending, even though it's tragic, because they introduced the concept of Lifestream, and Bugenhagen talks about it early on, and all living things go back to the planet.
Right, for sure.
So that was my take on it, but you know, for a long time, people were divided on that, what it actually meant.
Right.
Now in the remake, they're probably going to make it
more finite, I guess.
More finite, yeah, and probably because the remake, to give minor spoilers or potentially major spoilers, close your eyes if you don't want to know anything about the remake, and close your ears because that wouldn't work by itself.
You're just closing your eyes. God damn it!
Yeah.
I trusted you.
But yeah, the remake is like partially a remake and partially reboot. It's not just a remake. They're having like the first part, or the first game of the remake only includes up to Midgar, but Sephiroth and Jenova already make appearances like in the story, so it seems like Sephiroth is like potentially going back through time and manipulating things differently to try and change things. So people are thinking, oh, okay, well, they might try to erase Aerith's death, or they might try to erase Zack's death, or make everything be a clean, super happy ending with no loose ends and all this stuff by the time everything's said and done. So it has the potential to be cool. It has the potential to be crap. It's very controversial, the remake in and of itself, because it's not a remake. It's more like a reimagined sequel.
Yeah, right. I really like the way this ended with the ambiguity of it all. Like, I really like when you're kind of left to your own devices to kind of figure out what the end of the story actually is, because when you kind of put everything into in gift wrapping and like give it to somebody, it's not really like, then you're just going through the motions. You don't really have to think too hard about what's actually happening in front of you, because there's going to be it's always going to be a happy ending. Everything's going to come back to life, and everyone's going to be happy, hunky dory, blah blah blah, the end. But in this, it's like it just ends with potentially a catastrophic situation that turns into, even like the 500 years later, if you didn't even see that, you have no idea what's happened. But now when you see the 500 years later, you know at least Red has survived, the world still exists, but you don't know exactly in what condition that is. So you're still left without the entire picture, which is fantastic for me. So I think for them to kind of make everything fit into like this really happy, hunky-dory kind of picture would suck a little bit for sure. But yeah, I mean, the way it turned out, I really liked how they wrote it, and just the sheer like scale of it from the beginning to end, of it going from they're a like terrorist organization, like an eco-terrorist organization trying to save the world from like Mako from Shinra, to now the entire world being at stake, and now you have to like fight and almost put like differences aside in certain cases just to kind of save the world at the end of the day. So yeah, they had a lot of like really cool arcing like story arcs that happened throughout it. I would totally love to see where they took this like story going forward, because I know there is a lot of extra stuff outside of just the Final Fantasy VII game. So
yeah, I was just going to get to that actually, because the compilation stuff that came in later, this was a long time later, because originally, like I mentioned previously, Square did not do sequels of any kind.
Yeah.
So this was after the merger between Squaresoft and Enix, where they became Square Enix. And yeah, then the compilation came out where they had some extra Final Fantasy VII items that happened before this story, and some that happened after this story.
Right.
So they did add to it, and the compilation again was controversial. Some of the, much like the remake, some of the fans were like okay with some of the changes, and some of the fans were very adamantly against some of the changes.
Right.
So the quality of storytelling is now it's not as bad as certain other sequels we've talked about, where the majority of people were just like, what is this hot garbage?
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like comic writing too, where some of it is good and then some of it is awful. And it's so different. You can't just say, oh, all comic writing is good or all comic writing is bad, because there are different writers. And it comes through very obviously. In some of the sequels that they make, it comes through very obviously that the story was not intended to have a sequel, and these are a whole bunch of different people getting involved, like trying to force a continuation like a bad TV show.
Right, yeah.
So with Final Fantasy VII, I don't think that the follow-up stuff was nearly as bad as Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy X. Some people love 10 too. I'm personally not one of them. Some people, nobody that I know of, nobody in any circle anywhere that I've ever heard likes the supposed launch of 10.3. There's this 10.3 does not exist as a game.
Okay.
But when they re-released 10.2 as a remastered version for PS4 and PC, they made an audio drama, which is basically they got the voice actors together and they started out this very short kind of thing that could lead into 10.3. And it is such high tier trash. It is like, I guess I shouldn't say high tier trash is kind of a contradiction in terms, but it is the lowest cesspool of filth. Like, it's just god awful. I mean, you know, Tidus, I mean, there's a bomb on a beach and he thinks it's a blitzball, so he goes over to check it out and it blows up and he dies.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about this.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's just like, and it's just, oh my god. It's just like,
that's
no
hilarious.
one has had a good reaction to it. So the compilation stuff for Final Fantasy VII is nowhere near that trash tier. I mean, to be fair, you would have to try hard, really hard, to write something that bad. But they didn't. So I personally, the point is, I like some of the follow-up stuff for Final Fantasy VII.
Another thing, although it is like, it's obviously aged, but the music like was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Like obviously they don't have as much to work with because you're limiting, just kind of limited in your time. As to what you can do, but like it's still like MIDI-based music and all that kind of stuff. But they got so much conveyed through it, like for just what I think they squeezed as much out as they possibly could have with that kind of platform that they had, because the music was epic when it needed to be, it was somber when it needed to be, it was like it really set the tones for a lot of the different areas, and I was very surprised by that, because like older games that I have played before, I mean, music is kind of like an afterthought kind of thing. But this was something that it seemed like that really, it really drove the story forward in a very, very awesome way. And even some of the sound effects I thought were hilarious. Because I just didn't like hear them at all ever like that before. But some of the sound effects were great. Some of the sound effects were like funny. Some of them were epic. Some of them were just like from out of nowhere. But I just really loved the audio design that they kind of threw into the game too. I think that definitely puts it onto another like level for sure.
Yeah, for RPGs, like the music is a pretty important part of the game because it helps move the story.
Mm-hmm.
So especially with the older games where the graphics aren't as sophisticated and you've got little sprites but for RPGs, since Final Fantasy IV at least, all the characters have had their own theme songs, so it's like it helps you better associate who the character is, and they're usually very fitting theme songs. Like Cyan from Final Fantasy VI is a samurai. He has this noble kind of music that goes with that, and it really is fitting to his personality type. So yeah, the main composer for Final Fantasy games, at least 1 through 9, was Nobuo Uematsu, and we've talked about him a little bit before, but he's like this like amazing genius who, I mean, movie soundtracks, some of them are pretty good, but compared to video game soundtracks, I don't get it. Because this dude has to make a separate theme song for every character and for the overall game, and then like they do the movie thing where they make variations of the theme song and they make it, faster or slower pace in different areas. But then he also has to do a battle theme, like a different boss theme, the Jenova theme, the final Jenova theme, the Sephiroth theme, the Sephiroth battle theme, the Safe or the Seraph Sephiroth battle theme, and all of these things bring a different level of emotion and impact. And like you said, a lot of them really nail it. Like maybe Yuffie's character theme didn't fit as well, but Red's nailed it.
Yeah, for sure.
The overworld theme in this game is amazing, and with the MIDI sound, this game has been redone with the soundtrack in full orchestra. When they toured the Distant Worlds tour, where they tour the whole world playing orchestrated Final Fantasy music. There's music from Final Fantasy VII. They've included the overworld theme. They've included Aerith's theme song. I mean, it's just to hear it like with the full orchestra. It's even more impressive. It's really great. For RPGs, it's always been, maybe not all of them. They definitely don't all have this level of quality.
For sure.
But it's not just Final Fantasy. Like, as good as Uematsu is, he's not actually my favorite composer for video games. There's this guy named Yasunori Mitsuda, and he did Xenogears. He does some of the Xenoblade stuff, and like he's phenomenal. Like some of his music is like, holy. I don't understand why movie soundtracks where like if you listen, some of them are really impressive, like Hans Zimmer, and then other ones just sound like this ambient kind of background noise. It's like,
for sure,
you're not at the video game guy level, but the video game composer's paycheck is not at your level. So definitely. What? That doesn't work to me. But anyway, the music's so good. And at the time when this game came out, the graphics, the CG was like unparalleled. It was like,
sure.
What? Even now, some of it stands up. Like the people don't really stand up, but the effects and the ships and the glowy pow-pows.
For sure, yeah.
Those glowy pow-pows are f***ing off the chain.
Next level glowy pow-pows.
Yes, phenomenal glowy pals. Glowy.
And they're pals.
Yeah. Pals. How did we go from POW to PAL?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how.
Yes. I guess they were friends too.
Like they were.
Livestreams intertwining and all that.
Right. If that's not palship, I don't know what it is.
As you do. Just like this.
That's the live stream right there.
Yeah, this is my body art interpretation of the live stream.
Your interpretive dance of what the live stream is.
Except it didn't make that noise or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's just for extra dramatic effect, I guess.
Fails the auditory test. Anyway, music's amazing. The graphics at the time were made. The overworld graphic, we talked about this before. The backgrounds look fine. The models, the 3D polygon guys, they don't look too hot.
Right.
But for Final Fantasy VIII, they kind of already stepped that up.
Wow.
Squall and company, they look much better. They look like they're in proportion all the time.
Right, yeah.
Arms look like arms instead of like people with like cement blocks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's perfect. That's like the exactly what they look like. It's just like the arm that goes down to a point and then just like it's like they're all Popeye.
Yeah, because they were originally making this game for N64.
Okay.
Or for like a potential Nintendo system before they shifted over to Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the initial polygons were being made with lower count for that reason.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this was their first 3D game. So anyway, but yeah, phenomenal game.
Yep.
Love the story, love the music, love the graphics. At least most of them.
Yeah,
the CG,
the cutscene, CG kind of stuff, all fantastic for sure, especially for its time. Still better than some like games today that what they can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, still fantastic. And again, yeah, like you said, music was amazing. Overall storyline was fantastic. And I love that it has so much replay value for sure. It's like you could play this again and have a totally different outcome, like in terms of like what your party looks like, the weaponry that you're using, like where you're even like choosing to go, all the different extra stuff that you can do. So that's pretty fantastic overall.
Speaking of the different characters to put in your team, what did you think of them? Did you have preferences?
I found myself like gravitating towards certain people for sure. I mean, Red is still my favorite character. Vincent is a very close second. I think his storyline is very interesting. I always find myself gravitating towards like the darker kind of storylines as well. But I don't know, for whatever reason, Red, just him being like his father being like the saving grace of that, like with that battle that he fought in, and him like trying to really find that in himself and like live up to that expectation that everyone else has for him, but also like kind of like trying to figure out his own life at the same time and work with this new team. Like I think just all of those elements, like it made for a really, really interesting character. So I just found myself gravitating towards Red, and I think he's just a cool like overall character. Like he's just this fire dog that like talks like in this really cool way that is not like it's not incredibly wise or regal, but he's not this like idiot at the same time. He's really trying to like figure out his path, and like you said, he's younger when it kind of calls for that, or when he doesn't put that veil up. Like it's kind of instinctively he's kind of has that younger kind of element to him, especially when he talks to like Bugenhagen and whatnot. Then he kind of takes that like backseat role as he looks at Bugenhagen's kind of like a fake father figure. And then when he's with other people on the team, he's just like, no, this is what we have to do. Like he's trying to be a leader, even when he doesn't really have the entire capacity to do so. Vincent again, thought was fantastic. Very close number 2. I didn't really have a huge love for Cloud in this one. I mean, he's obviously the main character. He's interesting, like on the path that he's going down, but he didn't really show like that much growth, I guess, because he had the opportunity to become a better leader, but he didn't really like see. It didn't seem like that shone out like very obviously. I think the only times he really like growed as a person was when Aerith came into the picture. And then he's using his love for Aerith as kind of the thing to propel him forward and to do better and to really like believe in himself again. But I don't think he really like shown the same level of like leadership qualities as I would anticipate a main character to do in a storyline like this. Mm-hmm. I thought like arguably Sid showed better like leadership qualities, although he goes a very backwards way of doing so, and he just like curses all the time, and he just says like, "Hey, hurry up, you idiot!" like all that kind of stuff. But like when the going gets tough, he's like, "No, we're gonna go here, we're gonna fight, like, and I'm gonna rally the troops as much as I need to like make this happen." Cloud has that one time when he's like, "Go find out what you're fighting for and come back to me," but then even after that, you don't really get to see him incorporate anything else like that into, even as the final battle. He's like, all right, let's go, and Sid's like, come on, you can't say it better. Like
exactly. So that part is very interesting because of the whole "let's mosey" is a famous line of dialogue.
Yeah
And Sid still hammering your point home.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. He even brings it up. The party member actually brings it up that he's disappointed in the way that Cloud is handling it. And before that, at least Cloud has this, or maybe right before, maybe right after, where at least Cloud is like, nobody, all right, don't die on me. Yeah. We got to take this. I mean, he's got moments.
Yeah.
But, like you say, he's also got the opposite, where most leaders don't have the whole, like, all right, guys, let's get going. All right, guys, let's mosey.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, most leaders who you respect, like, are more assertive like Sid, or at least maybe they're not, like, as assertive as Sid, but they're not, like, passive like Cloud appears to be.
Exactly, yeah. Which is fine, like, especially, like, Vincent and whatnot is a very passive person. He doesn't really, I mean, he doesn't say much at all. But even then, I mean, he's a man of few words, so whenever he does speak, you listen to what they are. And even when he was in the party, I thought, like, he was more of an effective, like, kind of leadership role than what I thought Cloud was doing. Because he's very, like, I guess he's very straightforward in what he wants to say, and he doesn't really, like, and he doesn't take that passiveness, I guess, and convey it to the rest of the team. Like, he's very much so like, no, I want, or Lucretia or whatever. He's like, no, this is what happened with Lucretia. I'm going to get revenge on, like, for my loved ones. I'm going to do this. Like, this is what I'm going to do to right the wrongs that were done to me. And Cloud, I mean, the ultimate thing has happened to Cloud where Sephiroth killed Aerith right in front of him, and he's still, like, he doesn't have that passion for it. Like, it doesn't seem very obvious that he does anyway. Although, like, when he goes to fight Sephiroth, he's very, like, angry with that. But on the path there, he's just kind of like, all right, let's go, mosey on down, or whatever.
Right.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Well, right after Aerith died, that's when Cloud's first sparks with some major passion.
Yeah.
We're up to that. Before that point, he's kind of like, whatever, I don't care about the planet, just pay me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where he's kind of not really himself. He's still going through his Jenova-fueled post-experiment brain of, this is what I believe my personality is. This is what I believe someone who is a first-class member of Soldier is like.
Right.
Like, amalgam of what his thoughts are on that and what he learned from Zack and that sort of thing, as the Jenova copying cell power is doing its thing.
Right.
But after Aerith died, he's like, what am I supposed to do now? What about our feelings? Aerith's never gonna breathe again. She's never gonna laugh again. And that's when he's finally starting to get passionate. Yeah. And then he tells the party, I'm going after Sephiroth, no matter what it takes. You guys don't have to come with me, but that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So there, Cloud, again, he has his moments of strength.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
But then, later, after that point, before that point, he gets taken over by Sephiroth. Even at the end of the game, he still goes into that moment of like, what?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to get taken over
exactly
at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't that. Fortunately, it was like Sephiroth dragging his astral mind in to maybe attempt to take him over, and Cloud's like, no, bitch.
Yeah, not anymore.
But, yeah, so I actually, well, let's go over, you're in the middle of characters, so I'll give you my impression after. But so you did Red, Vincent, Cloud. What about Barret, Tifa, Sid, Aerith, Yuffie?
I thought Sid is quite the character. I think he has a lot of drive. He has a lot of passion, and he doesn't really care who knows it. And I mean, he has his flaws for sure. I'm not gonna put him in like, I don't know that I would put him above I don't know that I'd put him above Barret. But he's definitely like top 5 for me. So I would probably say Red, Vincent, Barret, then Cloud, then Sid. Aerith, I really liked Aerith, but I guess the only thing that I don't like is that I didn't get to see that much of her. Because like she dies halfway through. But I really liked what she did for the rest of the team. Like, she was the ultimate like help character, I guess, the helper character, or the motivational character, I guess, because she was kind of like this moral compass for the team. But she seemed like she was also someone that was willing to fight for the future of the world when everyone else was kind of like didn't really care about it as much. So I think she was a really good driving force for the story and for the team. Barret I liked because, I mean, he was fighting for Marlene overall. Like, he was just fighting for his town and his daughter after everything else kind of went to shit. He found motivation in that. And I mean, that's, I think, a good overall story. Just him trying to find vengeance and peace with what was taken over his town and killed everyone that he loved, essentially. Tifa,
since he was partially responsible for that.
Yeah, exactly. So he's kind of like, he has this vengeance and this vendetta, I guess, that like this chip on his shoulder because of that too. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in the beginning, he was doing like insane damage to just the world because he's killing like civilians in the process of that. Yeah. I mean, Tifa and Cloud they're helping him do that too, so they're not their hands aren't clean by any means. But yeah, he was kind of the one that was pushing that, I think. But
absolutely, yeah.
I think he has the biggest kind of turnaround in that story, like where he goes from like this eco-terrorist that all he cares about to now fighting for Marlene and the whole planet and saving like everything that was taken away from him, essentially, or fighting for everything that was taken away from him before. So I really like that kind of that turnaround that he's done, and it seems like he had a lot of growth as well. Tifa was cool. I think she has a lot of potential, but I don't like how they like wrote her as this girl that was just gawking over Cloud the whole time, because I think she had a lot more potential to be someone stronger than that. Although she did like help Cloud out of, I mean, a terrible situation with him being stuck in kind of that limbo that he was in.
Yeah, in the live stream.
In the live stream there, but yeah, with her, like after that point when Aerith dies, she just kind of becomes this girl that's obsessed with Cloud and being this relationship with Cloud. And I think it would have been nicer to have her be like a stronger character, a more independent character, and then kind of have a romance happen or not happen, and that not affect her as much, like depending on what your choices are in the game. It's nice to like have that kind of romantic bond in the or even kind of this love triangle kind of thing that's happening, but for it to be kind of her major personality trait, I think that kind of takes away, it doesn't really do justice to what Tifa could be if she didn't have that as the main driving force on things.
Especially after they revealed that they weren't even close as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like if it had been the other way around, where they had been, tight
just like
from the
madly
beginning,
in love,
yeah,
but like no one, like Cloud thought he wasn't worth it for her, so he went off to soldier or whatever, and
right.
It was revealed that they were in love the whole time. Then I could kind of understand that more for sure. But yeah, to your point, they weren't even close. They got close after Cloud left for soldier or whatever, and then they were like writing letters where she's thinking about him more, and then they just kind of like reconvene.
They weren't even writing letters. She was checking newspapers to see if maybe there was a story about him.
That's right, yeah.
Like the other guys wrote letters to her.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then after she found like post-experiment twisted Cloud, then she's like, okay, great, I want to keep him around no matter what, because I've been thinking about you since you left.
Exactly.
Checking newspapers and kind of like starting to obsess over you.
Yeah,
so what about the stars of the show? Kate Sith and Yuffie.
Kate Sith and Yuffie, oh man. Yuffie is just, I don't know why she's still in the team after the whole stealing the materia thing. Like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm not going to murder you, but you kind of stay as far away from me as possible. At first, I thought she was interesting. Like, this random ninja just kind of shows up out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. But, like, after she turns out to be a materia fiend and just, like, is this junkie over materia or whatever, I mean, she does it for a reason where she wants, like, her town to be, like, glorious again and whatever. So, in her eyes, it's kind of like a noble cause.
Justified,
Yeah, but in no way, shape, or form, I think, does she benefit really the team as a whole with her being such a liability for just stealing all the materia.
Right.
So I'm not a huge fan of her. She seemed interesting in the beginning, kind of fell off towards the end. I actually kind of have the opposite with Cait Sith, where I didn't care about him at all because he was this weird cat Moogle. And it just seems so weird to me that, like, I don't even know how this thing exists in reality. And then all of a sudden, like, he turns out to be this spy guy, like this double agent, so to speak. And then it's just like you of all people, you're not even intimidating. Like, we carry you around for no reason, and now you're like stabbing us in the back. So I hated him after that point. And then after, like, the Black Materia thing where he's like, oh, it's a sacrifice I'll make. I'm like, okay, well, at least he's trying to, like, atone for whatever he did before. Although his reasoning was weird. It's like, you showed me that I can be better. It's like, you should know that. Like, do you not, like, think for yourself at this point? But, yeah, and even then, he, like, kidnapped Marlene. It's like, that's kind of a really dick move right there.
Yeah.
And you're not even, like, intimidating. You're just this cat Moogle that steals kids and, like, double crosses people. But, like, towards the end, it's like, I appreciated that he wanted to do better, and I appreciated that, like, he was willing to put it all on the line to, like, prove that he can change. So I don't mind that as much. I thought he was better than Yuffie in my eyes, for sure.
Yeah, okay. So that's pretty similar to my perspective on most of them, but not all. Like, my number one character is Aerith.
Oh, yeah.
So Aerith number one, Vincent number two. But I really like the archetype, the Aerith idea of one of the party members has a lot of wisdom, and she knows she's more in tune about what's going on all of this mysterious spiritual level.
Right.
I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And like you said, she is like the heart of the party, the moral center, or they get behind that person, like, really motivating, brings them together sometimes.
Right.
I really like that kind of character concept where it's the heart of the party, and even after she's gone, they're like, oh, we've got to find out what Aerith was doing. Aerith was trying to show us the way. Let's follow the trail that she left for us.
Right.
And even at the end, the party defeats Sephiroth. That's not enough. Aerith has to come through.
Right.
Whether you believe humanity survived or just the planets lived on and red species and other life existed.
Yeah.
We saw birds flying. We saw trees growing. That's Aerith, man.
Yeah.
Everyone was dead.
True.
That's Aerith who made that happen. So I always liked that kind of character, and she was willing to make, like, the ultimate altruistic sacrifice for the whole planet. Like, to me, that's amazing. So Aerith number one, Vincent number two, still amazing.
Yeah.
I like the taciturn characters who have that tragic backstory.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
On the same page there. I don't know if I have a direct order for the rest, but Barret is pretty high up there. Really love that, like, the story. He lost his wife and his best friend, and then his best friend got twisted by what happened, and he has to fight him to the death and take care of his best friend's kid. Like, he's forever atoning. And, he's going to war against the planet, but it's also mainly to get a personal vendetta against Shinra. More so than it is for the planet itself at the beginning. Then Cait Sith kind of calls him on it, and later he is more invested for the planet itself and for Marlene. But that's another crap thing they changed in the remake, by the way. In the remake, they show that the bombing on the thing that killed a lot of civilians was actually not spoilers for the remake, everyone. Will spoiler tag that, but they actually show it's not the work of Avalanche. The Shinra was ahead of them the whole time, and, like, every step of the way they knew about what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
But they blew the reactor anyway to blame it on Avalanche to gain public support. But like, there's no casualties that are attributed to Barret and Tifa and Cloud to make it, like, cleaner. And I really hate that change.
Yeah, that sucks, because now, like, you're taking away the one thing that, like, in the beginning was a driving factor of, like, oh, we have to change this, or, like, it's even more impactful when Barret changes in the future because he recognizes just how much wrong he'd done. Right. So, yeah, that sucks.
I think that sucks a lot too, but the trade-off is, at the end of this game, if humanity did survive, if you actually understand what they did, then doesn't Cloud and Tifa and Barret have to go to jail for the rest of their lives. Like, that's nice that they saved the world, but they murdered, thousands of people, but to possibly millions, depending on that, like, not to scale ratio we've got going on here.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Don't they have to go to jail for the rest of their lives? They killed, men, women, and children. They killed children. They should be in jail. Like, yeah, they did it for a good cause, but they killed innocent people. So I understand them wanting to take the messiness out, but still, it's part of the original story. Yeah. They should respect the source material.
Right.
But okay, so Barret's high up there. Sid, I don't know. He's so he's so hard to call.
I know,
because he's such an awesome assertive leader, but he's such a womanizing dick to Shera. It's just like, I mean, it's not necessarily just Shera. He treats everyone like crap. He's in everybody's face. Even President Rufus comes to town, and he's still swearing like a sailor.
Yeah,
still, like, his job depends on this guy. He doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
He still swears. So I like that direct aspect of, I just really. And in the end, he did kind of he definitely saw Shera's value, but man, I don't know. I really like Sid's leadership style, definitely better than Cloud's, like you said. Cait Sith, I like Reeve and how he's on this quest for redemption. I mean, maybe he didn't see that the party or he didn't appreciate how strongly people could sacrifice for the greater good, or how hard they would fight for that, because he's in the center of corruption USA.
Maybe.
Like, he's the only one with a conscience in the entire freaking building. Like he only lives with greed. Right. And I've hung out with people who are extremely selfish and who do these things that are kind of despicable actions, and then if that's the only thing that then I could see he'd be more surprised with the party and be like, okay, yeah, I see what you guys are going for.
Right.
But Marlene is the deal breaker for me with Cait Sith. Yeah. It's cool that Cait Sith changed his mind and he wanted to help people. That's cool. But wanting to help people and actually helping people are two different things. And he keeps working for Shinra. He keeps Marlene held hostage all the way up until the point where Diamond Weapon kind of blows a hole in the Shinra leadership structure.
Yeah.
That's when he finally has some power. I got the refugees out. I made sure that as many people could be evacuated to the slums. I got Marlene to a safe place.
Right.
I'm here. I'm doing this. Now he's playing a role. But he wouldn't fight for that role. He stayed under the thumb of Shinra until they were gone.
Vulnerable, essentially.
Until Heidegger, Scarlet, and President Rufus were all gone.
Right,
so
true.
Would he ever have done the right thing and actually pushed Rufus out of the window of that high tower if Rufus had lived? And then Reeve makes it happen, fights and make sure that people live that way.
Right.
Would he do that, or is he always this beta dude hiding in the shadows? Well, I'll do something good if I can, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't know. I'm still not sold on Cait Sith, because wanting to do good and doing good are not the same thing. Yuffie, I hate. Just like he said, I mean, they're trying to play it off as anime, comic relief.
Right.
Even after she steals from the party, you go back and talk to her dad. The dad's like, and Yuffie, steal the material from the party! Ha ha ha! And she's like, yeah! And it's yeah, we would not have you guys in the team.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're gone immediately after we figure that out.
Right. Which they didn't even hide well.
Yeah.
You go back up and Godo's and the material! Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I get it, it's supposed to be comic relief, but to me, life and death situation, that's nice that you're funny, be funny over there. Steal crap over there. So, Tifa, same kind of disappointments. She didn't have enough of her own personality. It's awesome how hardcore loyal and steadfast she was to Cloud, but they didn't earn that.
Yeah.
It's kind of she's obsessed with the celebrity. It's some girl was hardcore into, Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Hemsworth or something. And they finally met and started dating, and then she was right. The weird obsessive stalker fan pays off, and they have a relationship that keeps going. But yeah, she was all Cloud all the time, not enough actual driving personality of her own.
Yeah,
which seemed weird, because they gave her a backstory that said Tifa had her own strong life to live.
Yeah,
and Cloud had nothing to do with it. I've been more of a fan of the Cloud Aerith relationship than the Cloud Tifa relationship. Definitely respect where Tifa's willing to go that extra mile and dive into the Lifestream and do whatever it takes to get Cloud to fight hard for Cloud,
Yeah.
get him back, stick by his side even when he's hospitalized and comatose.
Right.
Like, would she have stuck by his side forevermore, or would she eventually have run out of patience for that sort of thing? Like, they definitely made her a really loyal, steadfast, devoted companion, but I don't know. Some people are hardcore for Cloud and Aerith. Some people are hardcore for Cloud and Tifa. It's another one of those super controversial things that has been controversial throughout the ages.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I could see. Yeah, I could see why people go both ways on that for sure. I thought that like Tifa and Cloud had more of a past, which is why I kind of was leaning towards the Tifa Cloud like relationship more. But then after finding out that it's like they didn't have a past at all until like Cloud had left, and then it seems like Aerith and Cloud had more relations than the Tifa and Cloud did. Like I think that started first.
On a serious
level, yeah, so, for sure. So now, I mean, especially for what it seems like, Aerith, I think I lean towards Aerith and Cloud now, because of just what I think Aerith brings to the table for Cloud and vice versa, versus Tifa and Cloud. I don't think it's like a very healthy relationship even to begin with, because Tifa is just very obsessed with Cloud in this way that like she doesn't have a personality on her own. It's like if Cloud didn't exist, it seems like she would just kind of latch on to someone else in this way.
It's like she was cool with just talking and catching up with Johnny in Costa del Sol, so she wasn't like completely devoted ever to any of the other guys in Nibelheim who kind of were fawning over her.
Yeah.
But like, who is Tifa? What is she about? She hated Shinra, but even that, like, she didn't seem to carry that as hard as Barret did.
Yeah, for sure.
So even though she had those revenge scenes also, I hate Shinra, Sephiroth, everything, and like that, but it didn't seem to materialize. So she had definite aspects of personality, but in the end, it was just every line they gave her was Cloud, Cloud, Cloud.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree, for sure.
So Red's kind of in the middle for me. Like, since I like that he's wise, but since he's just a kid kind of trying to be wise and talk himself up and make himself look cooler than he is, don't necessarily like that aspect. And that brings me to Cloud, where if you're a big Cloud fan, sorry, but Cloud is one of my like least liked protagonists in all the Final Fantasy games. He wasn't the badass. He was the grunt. He didn't make it into Soldier. He had the physical capability to do it. He failed the mentality. So maybe now at the end you can argue, especially with the compilation stuff, you can argue, okay, yeah, he always was capable physically, and now Tifa got him strong enough, or a combination of himself and Tifa got him strong enough so that he was there mentally. He can do it all now. But even at the end, the very last descent in, he's like, all right, guys, let's mosey. Like, that's developers made this point to put it in to have Sid complain about Cloud, be more motivating. Come on, you can't say something like that. Don't say it like that.
Yeah, exactly. We're putting our lives out for the end of the world here. It's like you can do more than just say let's mosey.
Right. So yeah, he had his moments. He did have positive moments, but he had negative moments that, I don't really respect Cloud. He was never the ultimate badass. He was the loser soldier number 2057. Yeah. He is a Jenova copy attempt at the beginning of the game, and when he finds out who he really is, it wasn't impressive before the Jenova cells and the Mako soldier treatment injections that Hojo did to him, not because he made it into the program.
Exactly, yeah.
And it wasn't impressive afterwards, because he had some strong moments of leadership and some weak-ass moments of leadership.
Yeah, for sure.
Where, I don't know what we're going to do now, guys. Oh, man. What can we do? Meteor's coming.
Exactly.
So, I've never been a big fan of Cloud. Sorry, don't mean to offend anybody. Everybody has their own opinions. Great, but Cloud is really low tier for me. I've just never been a big fan. So, Vincent, to me, should be... he's top tier Final Fantasy hero, and Cloud is... disappointment.
Oh, man. Yeah, I definitely echo that sentiment for sure in terms of the level of leadership that's kind of portrayed by Cloud. It's just it doesn't like grasp what a leader should be, at all, especially as protagonist of this game. I think a lot of other people outshone him in that department, and that alone is a point enough to say like it's not like he's not the leader that I guess he was kind of trying like place to be. He's definitely has a lot of places to grow, and that growth has to happen before I can say like yeah, he's definitely anywhere near top tier in this game.
Yeah.
Like roster for sure.
I mean, I like him better than Yuffie and Cait Sith, but well,
that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah. And Cloud is the face of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like Cloud is in. So different people have different opinions, definitely, but Cloud is in Smash Brothers. Mm-hmm. Oh, and just recently, like a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, they announced Sephiroth is the next character to be released for Smash Brothers.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, really awesome. So definitely Final Fantasy VII has this
relationship. It has this existence kind of in the universe of just gaming in general, outside of just the Final Fantasy world. Yeah,
they're definitely, Cloud and Sephiroth are the most well-known, so it is cool. I like Cloud, but you know, as a main character, disappointing. Mm-hmm. I like more where they took him later. But yeah, this game, even though I don't like Cloud, I still think this game is amazing. Amazing. One of my favorite games. One of my favorite Final Fantasy games. Some people hate it. Some people love it. The fan base is always divided because the games are so different.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I love this game. It's so fun. Music's great. Characters are great. And the storyline is so much fun. The battle system's fun. Meteor is fun. So much fun!
I agree. I had a lot of fun playing this game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more content about it in the future. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what else is maybe existing in the world of that is Final Fantasy, because I'm still a noob in terms of just the whole universe of Final Fantasy at large. So if you guys have any, I guess, recommendations for me or for like more Final Fantasy content or whatnot, then you can let us know, or just anything else in general, any other games that you want to see us play, just go ahead and let us know. And also what your take on our Final Fantasy VII playthrough was. Is this your favorite Final Fantasy game? Least favorite? What did you think about the characters? Yeah, if you have an opinion that's different from ours or even echoes what we said, then go ahead and share it.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know what you thought. Because everybody, when it comes to Final Fantasy, there's a ton of different opinions out there.
Yeah,
some people love Cloud, some people hate him, some people love 7, some people hate it, some people argue it's one of the best of all time, some people try to say it's way overrated. So let us know what you think, where your thoughts lie, where you fall on this subject, and let us know if there are any other games that you would like to see us play night and day. Night and day.
And we're checking out. So I guess we'll see you guys in the next game. And yeah, go ahead and leave a comment if you have anything specific you'd like to see. But we'll see you guys in the next one.
Or something vague you'd like to see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just a general idea, I guess, that floats in your mind about a game that you might like to see.
Or something specific that you didn't want to see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If you guys play Final Fantasy II, I'm gonna unsubscribe. Whoa, okay.
Yeah, all right, buddy. Let's calm down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it might be funny if we play it and you hate it, because we might make fun of it. Who knows? It could be on the bright
true.
But let us know what you think.
Indeed, yes. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys next time.
See you next time.